Games, board games. I might be talking about a bit less about board games, but anyway, I'm not gonna shout. I'm talking about the old videos. These have might be things you've seen, things you know, but I'm gonna do a mega recap. I'm gonna lay down a little map, a map of history and where I've been, and all the episodes that you probably haven't seen. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. is UK time for Busy Beats and Board Game Blether, episode 900. And yeah, historically, episode 100, I wanted to do something special. So what I did is I just gave the link up and I shared that in the Twitch and the YouTube, and anyone who was watching could jump in and be part of the show. Episode 200, it started to be a bit longer, then a bit longer, then a bit longer, until I was doing these mad 25-hour shows, which was actually really good fun, except that I got a bit tired and I thought, you know what, that bit about 2 a.m., it doesn't quite work out. And also in YouTube, it can, if it goes longer than I think 10 hours, and on Facebook, if it goes longer than 8 hours, then it fizzles out. So I'm going to try and keep it under that length. Episode 700, episode 700, I had a lot of people, and that was the last big episode that I did, like the last really big episode. Let me share the screen. So episode 700 with all of these amazing people. I mean, Nikki Valens, Jess Medringham, Rita Model, Liz, Tonya, Josie, I think that's Chloe, Tanya. I'm going round clockwise from the thumbnail. Let me actually click so you can see if we can see this thumbnail. Then that's that's Kathleen Mercury, that's T, Rose Atkinson, oh, yeah, so all sorts of amazing people. Yeah, what's Sugar? Why is Timea Farkas? Yes, Timea Farkas. And yeah, that's the owner of Cheeky Parrots. So I had these big episodes, but since then I've been doing the shorter episodes. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the mega recap, and yeah, I'll crack on with it. But first of all, recent highlights, living at I've seen sites, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. My recent highlights yesterday, getting out for a good long time, staying out, being with people, being energized by the people, and deciding, okay, yeah, this is good. This is what I'm doing. Getting a lot of exercise in, like just kind of a wee bit of dancing, not like going out, but like it was a wee bit of, just random dancing in a pub, to be honest. But yeah, it was all good. And had fish and chips, which I enjoyed. It wasn't the best I've ever had, not to patch on the one in Wales. Brilliant thing. What's the little thing which is brilliant? I'm going to say vinegar. Vinegar is brilliant. I mean, vinegar, just a bit of acid in your food, get it in there. Yes, vinegar makes things super tasty. As always, comment, ask questions, follow. I'm going to try and get through these things super quickly, and we'll see how it goes. So, let me crack on. Mega recap. I enjoyed this. I think that looking back, it's a useful thing for me to do, to have this moment of introspection, and I would encourage people to watch it if they are curious, because it gives you an idea of what else to watch. When I'm meeting someone, it's always useful to get to know this person. I love chatting to them and talking about seeing who's work and learning what they're up to. for me, that's fantastic. If you're interested in Team Who and who they are, then watch it. If you're interested in how to make 3D models, then check that out. Um, Again, a bit of introspection. I think that this sort of thing is super useful sometimes. Um, it's not something that I think serves the viewers that much in hey, I'm going to watch this and I'm excited to learn what's changing, but it it's something that's useful to the channel overall for me to do these. Hey, what's going to change about this stream? And I think it's important for me to do the mega recap and the changing. I mean, notably, I didn't do the mega recap around episode 800. Now, this is an interesting episode. I was looking at this about 10 minutes ago, thinking, where was I going? What was happening on that Tuesday? And it turns out that on June the 26th, I was still working with Inside the Box about Seize the Power. I mean, at this point, they hadn't quite collapsed. I mean, it hadn't become essentially a one-person company, and we were still working every 2, 4 weeks. I was going for a meeting, and this was a lovely thing. And honestly, it's interesting as a historical artifact. I just had no idea that Seize the Power was in this situation. I maybe had more faith than I should have had. Now, these fortnightly chats with Alan Paul, this is something that I'm finding very useful because I need to go through the stuff. I need to learn about the mechanics, and what we've decided going forwards is that we're going to each come with 3 examples of it. And for me, this is something that if you're interested in knowing what action event is, and this is something where Alan Paul was teaching me more than it being a balanced conversation. And so for me, this is very useful to kind of explore these things a bit more deeply and have this space for this conversation. I was doing a bit of work on Seize the Power, and yeah, there's a spoiler warning. I mean, I don't know how that's going to the base game of Seize the Power, which is something that I'll probably self-publish in a sort of cheap-ass games style way. Some of them I might use, but feel free to watch it. It's not going to come out for years and years at this point. It's useful for me to have sometimes stuff like this. Test your rules. Yeah, so I enjoy doing these things where it's like, okay, I'm heading out, I'm exploring, I'm going to Playtest UK, and I'm going to Friday, and I like these short streams. And I do find that sometimes it helps to galvanize a thought. And I do find that sometimes just the title probably tells you 70% of what's going on. Test your rules, but different prices set different expectations. If that doesn't tell you everything, listen to the show. Now, this random rambles whilst waiting for a guest who never came. Obviously, that's not something that I planned, but I'm glad that I'm able to have random rambles and stuff. I like chatting about my work. I mean, I feel like I should do more of this going forwards. I think I might have broken the overhead camera stand because it snapped, but I'll sort it out and hopefully it'll all be good. It wasn't June 26th that I visited Inside the Box. It was July 26th. Drawing stuff for Best Day 22. That was, such good fun. And a bunch of people came in and said hello, and it was lovely to draw this stuff. And I think I will probably do something vaguely similar for Best Day 2023 and future Best Days, maybe. We'll see. But that's something that I'd like to do again. Now, chatting to Jess about why sometimes forget about brilliant, just do the best that you can. This is a really important conversation. And I think that so many people are chatting about, hey, here's something key to know about the mechanics of game design, or, what this type of action mean, or, hey, let's talk about how you made this game. But not enough people talk about the emotional journey, I would argue. Chris Kingsnorth, someone that I know we've played a few games together. And again, for me, these are my favorite shows where I'm meeting someone where hopefully I'll get to know them more along the way. And it's just the start of, yeah, let's chat together. Because, hey, even if we've chatted very briefly at conventions, even if we've chatted briefly like on Facebook, for me, listening to someone talk about themselves and their relationships with games and what they're up to for an hour is super useful. As I say, with all of these things, it depends whether you are interested in the guest or not. Um, yeah. Fillings versus simplicity. You need both. Yeah. A game is like a donut. And like, how long is this one? That was 9 minutes. And so I think I want to do more of these super short kind of ranty, hey, this is what I think. And yeah, it was kind of also a ramble of, hey, let's try and connect to things that aren't particularly related. And I think it was a bit of fun, and hopefully other people enjoyed it as well. I would say it's more about the humor. Meeting Glenn, it was basically just Glenn from Rent, Truffle and Droll, which is a really interesting program, and I think that yeah, I would love to have them back on, although that hasn't quite happened. It again, if you're interested in their journey on renting games out and want to know what kind of thing that means, then check it out. Dice Hospital, should I do more solo playing? Mm, like, maybe. It feels to me kind of like filler content. It doesn't necessarily feel like the thing that I'm able to offer the most value in. There's a lot of people doing solo plays. There's a lot of people doing, and whilst I would enjoy doing more and chatting with more people, I think that for me, it's my favorite bits is when I chat and other people are chatting back. Um, yeah, again, like similar to the episode 3 before, a game is like a lipstick. Let's just think about some random connections. Planning versus improvising, expectations versus surprises. These kinds of things. This allowed me to, um, yeah, ponder the two things. And this was again, I think from the screen, this was me at Inside the Box. Again, or yeah, where was I? I'm trying to look at it, trying to see if but I'm not sure. Anyway, like, I think that sometimes when I have these rants, I do learn something myself by the end, and it's really nice. Um, Pondering mechanics. The advantage token, what does that mean? I was not familiar with this at all. I learned, maybe you'll learn. Alan Paul explains it all. Entertainment's more important than simplicity. This is from where I used to live. Yeah, I guess I was visiting my old housemates. And I don't know why I'm doxing myself. I mean, hopefully no one's going to, yeah. But this is fundamentally some key reminders, and sometimes it becomes challenging for me to think of these small epithets, but when I do, for sure I will do them as a stream. Chunking, this is such an important concept, and it was good to talk about it. I think that this is something very useful, and I think if you don't know what chunking is, watch this show. My birthday, yeah, I wanted to celebrate my birthday. Some people joined me. It was nice, and so yeah, for sure. Um, Solo Sunday, I decided to do a bit of testing of stuff. I mean, yeah, maybe I should do some more solo testing on Sundays. That feels like a good shout. I mean, that's something that, yeah, other people do. Other people could have played Solo Dice Hospital. Other people could have played solo. I'm trying to think of other stuff that I've played solo. Solar Storm, but yeah, playing solo versions of my games, like playtesting it, that feels like something slightly different. And hello, CD, it is lovely to see you, and very opportune timing, as you know, the next show 724 was with CD about what makes a good stream. And again, whilst meeting people, it's like nice to have that conversation, having, hey, let's talk about this one thing and talk about it for, it really explored that conversation. I think that this was really nice, and I'm really glad that you were part of that. Yeah. So I talk about the Kickstarter, I talk about balanced things, and I think that this is a valuable thing that I can offer, kind of explaining the behind the scenes stuff. I would like to keep doing that. I'd like to keep talking about. Honestly, I think at this point, the value of distractions and balancing your life. I think it was around this point that I started almost speaking to myself. I mean, I see that this one has 90 views, but which is a lot for me personally. I know for most people it's no one, nothing. But yeah, it for me, a lot of these are reminders for myself, things that I need to be reminded of. And if I need to be reminded of it, maybe you do as well. Kickstarter launch, I will always do a stream of it. It just makes sense. I mean, as long as I'm doing this stream after yeah, actually, even when I stop the stream, I might as well do a launch and talk about how it was and all that stuff, because why not? And I do have a bit of time where when you launch a Kickstarter, the temptation is to say, okay, let me keep up with all the comments. Oh, let's reply to all the people who've backed and thank them for backing. But really, the thing that I personally need to do is be taken away from it for half an hour, maybe. And Chris Kingsnorth, who did not sadly end up running the Proto Spiel Nottingham, I think it was called. I was looking forward to going. It didn't quite pan out, but it was really interesting talking about how this differentiates itself from a regular playtest event, like how that differentiates itself from a Friday playtest. And it seems like a lot of it is geography based about your opportunities, and being in London, everyone in London has lots of privilege that people in more sparsely populated areas don't have. Yeah, this is another rant. Draw cards at the end of turns, not at the start. Yeah, boom. That's all I'm saying. If you need convinced, watch this video. It's a very important thing to me. Cora Quest, fun game. I enjoyed it. If you enjoy solo games, I heard from people that they would really rather not have someone learning stuff on stream. They would rather someone do the second game on stream. And the truth is that, like, for something that's vaguely narrative based, I guess I could have done like the second adventure of Coral Quest. Like, I'm just not getting the audience that I would want to do loads and loads of preparation. If I thought I was going to get more audience, I would do more preparation. I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. Faranak Hon Mohammadi, someone that I'm looking forward to meeting in person when I'm in Thailand. And we talked about creativity. We talked about so much. Again, if you're interested in just listening to an interview, this was just a lovely person, not someone innately part of the games industry, but someone who has taught board games to school children. And that's why we actually connected on Facebook, talking about alliances with Alan Paul. And when we talk about these things, I find it useful. And I think that it's good to, good for me in terms of brainstorming. I noticed that I got the wrong number there. That was actually episode 731. Charles Ward, game designer, self-publisher, and we chat about all sorts, and they've made some great stuff. Answering all sorts of questions. I don't tend to get as many questions as I would like. I'd love to be asked questions, and I think in future, I'll sometimes say, hey, if anyone wants to ask me questions, please ask me questions, and I will answer them in the next few streams. Because if you've got something that I can't answer in just like 200 characters, then I'll chat about it for 5 minutes. Not every stream that I do is going to be, even 1 hour. And CD says, it's always fascinating how many views are actually done afterwards. Intriguing as to who those peeps are. Yeah, because on YouTube, I mean, obviously, just to clarify with these views, YouTube has more of my actually, Facebook has literally all of my stuff, but YouTube is easier to go through because, yeah, Facebook is a mess. So I stream on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and now, yeah, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all four of them. So I get some views on one, some on the other, some on the third. Um, I cannot saying I get loads and loads of views. I'm not like Paula Denning or someone big or that French show. But yes, it all of these views are just from the YouTube. There'll be other people from the Twitter or the Facebook, but yeah, it does vaguely reflect how popular I might be. 5 things I'm looking forward to about Tabletop Scotland. I think that I'd like to do more of these when I'm heading off to a place. Chat about why I'm excited about it. Share a bit of what I plan to do, share a bit of my aspirations, and then set the whole thing in context. I showed people a bit of Perth, and this is literally in the Perth train station just as I arrived, and it was lovely to be there. While I was at Tabletop Scotland, as you can see by the times, these were a lot faster than my usual things. Just, I was literally trading at the time, and it was me and two others, so I wasn't able to leave them for too long. That's why these are all less than 2 minutes. And so, yeah, that was that. And will I carry on doing streams in the middle of conventions for while I'm doing these 10 a.m. daily streams? Yes, absolutely. But afterwards, I'm not sure. Like, if people wanted them, then maybe I'd be more likely to. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to share the winner of the Colouring Gun contest and stream it just to show that it had been done fairly. I always like to debrief things, and I think that this was with Jane Garvani in the background from the place that we were staying, and it was a great convention. And for me, the debrief is super important, and that's part of why at the end of every day at a convention, like at UK Games Expo, I think it closes to public at 6 p.m., like just the trade hall. There's lots going on until like 2 a.m. or something. But in the trade hall, it closes, let's say 6 p.m. And then I tell all my volunteers, hey, if you want to come for a debrief, then come. And I personally find it of value, like talking about what we enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy, and what would have gone better. And I think that this kind of reflection is super important. And yeah, what can we do after a convention? Again, speaking to myself, having a bit of a ponder, it's useful, and hopefully it's useful to someone else. If you go to conventions and sometimes you feel a little bit low, listen to this. Observation versus discussion, like what's beneficial. Chatting with Jessica Mederingham, like this turned into more of a, hey, how are we doing generally? And how am I? Yeah, I think that I would like to have a quick, hey, how is everything every couple of weeks? But I do get into that a little bit when I do the recent highlights anyway. And yes, absolutely, the small, boring things matter. This is another quick reminder as I go to my Friday daytime playtesting. I think I've gotten quite good at doing those short shows that are 10 minutes and just cramming a lot in. I managed to solo test a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, and a new LDEC game. Yes, this was good. I mean, it's nice to do some testing of stuff especially whilst the Kickstarter's going. That might be better, but also in a manner of, hey, I'm solo testing this. Let me know what you think, and let's get feedback. And people can give feedback not just by playing it themselves, but by observation, saying, hey, how about this? How about that? And of course, I'm going to value feedback based on people who've played it themselves more than people observing me, but there's still value in that for sure. I wanted to talk about Daybreak. This is a game that I played by Matteo Menapace and Matt Leacock. It's still not out yet. It's a fantastic game, but for me personally, it was, I guess, kind of dispiriting, almost depressing, because we come from this high agency, we can do this, we can solve this problem, and then we come to reality where it's like, yeah, what can we do? Um, Talking about how I plan to market and launch Kickstarters in a low energy way, meeting Matteo Manapace, like a lovely person, again, co-designer of Daybreak, I should say, and getting to know them, giving them space to talk, because again, we talk for so much, but I think that it's important to, yeah, get to know these people, and it's really lovely. Area majority, it was like, I don't have much to say about these shows, specifically about mechanisms. And good night, CD. Thank you for being here. Lots of love, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, thanks for watching, Ori. And CD says, I love that you do these reviews. Wish it was a habit I had. I mean, yeah, it's been 6 months, as you can tell, since I did the last one. But yeah, I'm going to try and do it every 100 shows. 100 seems like a good number. Like, maybe I'll do it. The 100 will be the celebration, and then 101, you know, XO1 will be, yeah, the recap. But it's good, and I hope, why not? Why not start it as a habit tomorrow? Lots of love. Good night. Um, yeah, closing ceremony. This wasn't a morning show, but this is something that I plan to continue, and seeing how it goes. It is a nice little reflection, whether it's half an hour or a couple of hours. As long as people are coming in, it's good fun. Talking about Frank West, about what Gamma is, when Frank became the new president of Gamma, which is a position that Frank's now gone away from, but don't need to get into that. Reminding people that if you're not sure about something, playtest it. This is useful to me, again, useful as a reminder. I encourage, again, if you're, with all of these things, I try to put the message in the title. If you're convinced, great. If you're not convinced, then check it out. The 2022 LDEC Game Design Contests evaluations. So this was me, yeah, talking about how it all was and setting stuff up. And then later that day, with a bunch of people, we played a whole bunch of things. And it was like, yeah, these are what we think. And we looked at the typographies. We played a bunch of games. And this is not necessarily something that I'll try to do for future shows, for future contests, I will say. You can see the changed rules in the 2023 LDEC Design Contest, which is at stuffbybez.com/contests. Matilda of Milda Matilda. Milda Matilda basically means, oh my gosh, or something like that. So it's a pun on the name, because Matilda, that's their name. Their name is Matilda. So this lovely process, and talking about how it all came together, talking about the arts contest winner, and I need to check up on them, make sure that everything's gone through. I had a second conversation with Matilda. I'm sorry, Matilda. So about why handcraft games, and I think that for me, this is become my favorite way to have people on the show, when it's, hey, let's get together for an hour and let's just chat about who you are and everything, and then let's have you on another day where we chat about what you do in games and like why you do that, or answer a specific question like, why handcraft games? What's the point? I mean, it's obvious the short answer is because I want to, but then really there's a longer answer taking about 58 minutes, 50 seconds to explain, and so watch that, or you could watch it on double speed and it's a bit faster. And when is crunching okay? Talking about the fact that sometimes we need to work in a relaxed way, but sometimes it's okay to really be, boom, I'm going to get this all done. Talking about area movement with Nikita Sullivan, and talking about what that means and what type of games cater for this. People give me energy. It's true. I enjoy repeating these facts, and I hope that Um, they've got some vague relevance to board games that people are interested in them. And yeah, I went to Manchester. Oh yeah, I did. I went to Tabletop Gaming Live. That was fun, and I enjoyed wandering around and seeing everything. I had a chat where apparently, if I'm at a convention and I have a charger so I can charge up my phone and it doesn't run out of battery, and I'm allowed to just wander around, this is what you'll get. And yeah, I would say that if you're curious about how Tabletop Gaming Live was, then check this out. This gives you a good idea. I wander around the whole area, and it does take just under 2 hours, but I chat to basically so many exhibitors and we have so many chats. Then I talk about how it was for me, and a couple of days while I was still in Manchester, talks about how easily can people ruin the game, because it was a thought from should your is your game fragile? Like how easily can people ruin it? Should your game be robust that people can't ruin it? Do you know what I mean? Again, pondering more mechanisms with Alan Paul. Mm. Ah, thank you for letting me have that wee. So, talking about my design process, I mean, this is something that I hope is useful to other people. Is the post-game discussion part of a game? That's like a philosophical thing that I actually am curious about. I want to know other people's opinions. And we had Rory and Chris Kingsnorth coming over to play Catan, and we decided, is it important to play all the staples? Let's chat about this. Did we enjoy Catan? I mean, personally, I did, but yeah, more to do with the people playing. And a quick chat about finding an audience. I mean, and did I enjoy Periodic, a game of the elements? I think that this is a good title for a review series. Like, did I enjoy it? That's the key question that I'm answering here. It's not, is this a good game? Because I can only answer that through one lens. And is it a good game? You need to come at it through every single lens. So I like this. Did I enjoy Connect for Spin? Yes, I did, by the way. Arranging meetings for Essen, and we're talking about what we're doing. Who is John de Campos? I think it should have just been meeting John de Campos. Why did I change that name? That was a bit weird. Quick vlog. Talk about Connect for Spin and shape making game and game about uh, and quickly grabbing cards and judging them against three descriptions. Yes, that was a good game. Does everything have to be modeled? Talking about a simulation and what you choose not to model. Pre-spiel chat, and chatting about how I feel. We had a quick chat while I was on the way in the car. I did a vlog from the back in the city, showing what went on. This was some quick highlights showing actually spiel. So if you're interested in seeing the 4 minutes wonder, then check it out. Again, if you're interested in these are like 10 minutes, 9 minute, 4 minute wonders. Of course, I'm going to do all of these and chat to the people and show a bit of stuff. And it's nice to do it and have the memories. You know what? This actually encourages me to do more of these, as in keep going even after I stop my daily streaming. On the road back from Spiel, good times. Yeah, debrief and another debrief with Jess Medrington where we debriefed again, and then a debrief part 3 because Spiel is a big thing and there's a lot to debrief. I did end up getting a bit sick. Obviously, that wasn't great. I do prefer having more people on. I feel like there was too many shows all in with one thing. Initial thoughts of skill, speedy dice stacking. I like that as a review title. I mean, initial thoughts. Did I enjoy this? I don't want to call it a review, or I don't want to even engage in that whole, is this a review? Is this a first impressions? What even is this? Talking with Ben Downton. Downton, talking about giveaways and giving people things and how you can do that. talking about what's going on with Categorical. This was partially so that I could share it with backers, and yeah, I did do this just before my Kickstarter, so I could say, hey, yes, I'm launching another Kickstarter, but I'm still doing this. And this, yeah, the typography is something that I hope to do before, just before Aircon. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it works. How does running a Kickstarter feel? I mean, I've run something. Alan's been parts of Kickstarters which have been run by other companies, and it was interesting to chat about that, given that my Kickstarter had just started. Um, Talking with Don Eskridge, this was a fantastic chat, and chatting about their games and everything. KCON, again, a bunch of games from KCON from my head. And yeah, so many games played, and that's with Josie, and that looks like Scott in the morning. That's a lovely thing. Half an hour, and yeah, the day after it was a wonderful convention. Fabrizio Leotti, Hyper Wars. Let's talk about how long it takes to make a game and why that's such a weird thing to ask. The value of a high flexible player count, why things are super important. And yeah, I showed off Usagi Ojimbo. Um, I think that it's important to ponder certain styles of games, and yeah, sometimes it's important to say, yeah, you know what, I'm not okay. Yeah, you know what, I've not been okay for a while, for 3 months at least. Um, I could be a lot worse. A game about setting tasks that people would do for different lengths of time. This is a game that I'm proud of. It's based on, yeah, I would like to do, yeah, maybe more of these. Honestly, like as I look through them, I feel like I want to keep more of my shows generally a little bit shorter. Time to reflect. Is this bringing me joy? Again, this is super important. And for my 800th episode, based on what Sate said, maybe just don't worry about it. And I was kind of trying to prepare stuff for episode 800, but then I dropped the ball a little bit. I'm going to try to have a relatively big thing for episode 1000, not like a 25-hour show, but like a 6 hour or more. Meeting Mondo Davis, it was nice because this was one of the people who was meant to come on, and they were still keen to come on. So later that day, we still ended up having a nice chat. A game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them after some mixed noises. Talk about how this is different. A game about counting cat shapes colors that keeps getting trickier. And I wanted to make sure that I could chat about this for the Kickstarter, which kind of makes sense. And I do enjoy going through these, and wow, I had 150 views of that. Maybe that's from people on the Kickstarter being interested. I don't know. Catch up with Alan Paul. Why weren't we talking about mechanisms? I feel like we should be talking about mechanisms more, especially since we have so much to catch up on. Quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. Um, oh, that's why, because my Kickstarter was going, that's why we just had to catch up. And yeah, the closing ceremony. So the closing ceremony, it's not like, wasn't as big a thing as I was hoping. It didn't look like there were. I would love for one of these to be like, okay, here's all the comments, here's my final questions. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. But in a sense, if I've done my job well, people might not have any questions at that point. People are just, yeah, we trust you, do whatever. Yeah, just telling people I'm testing a couple of new games. And yeah, chatting about stuff, reminding people to have a strong vision. This is so important. It's not about being cajoled by your playtesters. It's about doing what you can yourself. Reminder, deadlines help keep me on track, but only sometimes. Like, how is it for you? A game about writing words, aiming to match other folk exactly 3 times. A co-design with Kirsten Lunde. Talking about Christmas customers, like this is useful to me. Again, I want to have more chats with other people. I think that from episodes 900 onwards, I would like to arrange to have more people on the show, but make it clear to them, hey, come on multiple times, but it'll be for less than an hour. I mean, yeah, here it was an hour 18, but I would like it to be like, yeah, someone comes on and we still only chat for 30, 40 minutes. I would like that to be an expectation that we can through the start bits and the end bits. Think about what makes you smile. Um, Announcing that I'm going to playtests, you can see I didn't have. Announcing the 2022 LDEC Game Design Contest winners. Congratulations to Kirsten Lunda. But there were so many other other games that were amazing, and I would love other people to watch this, to be energized by. I'm actually going to click on that to send it to someone so that people can be like, yeah, these are the games that I'm planning to make myself, and maybe I might make something totally different. Um, Reliability or variability? What do you like? And this was a question like in the marketplace, meeting Anita Landgraf, who owns White Castle Games, and then the very next day we talked about what's a game agent. This is how I like to do it. 1 hour and 8, 1 hour and 21, still a little bit longer, but like it's nice to have that chat. And pondering auctions. Like we chatted about all the auctions, and now we're still going through all the auctions, and because of all the different things. Being like, boom, I got some new games, hooray! A Gamer's Gaming Getaway, here we go with, yeah, there is Ellie Dix, I believe. Day 2, wandering around, seeing a little thing, and day 3, I think, yeah, that was someone who had just played Drawn Together, and did I do a debrief? I never actually did a debrief of that one. I possibly should have. Meeting Quash Young, a designer, artist. It's again lovely to chat to these people, and if you're interested in how to sculpt minis, definitely check out their second episode, 825. I was pondering in my own head, like, I feel like there are 3 types of games, and this is like something that I'm pondering more. And like fundamentally, either it's about making choices and strategizing them, or on the like how well can you flick stuff, like the skill and the execution and the physicality stuff, or indeed like the singing. This would come into the skill execution. Like it's like, are you trying to choose what to do, or are you let me put it or are you trying to you know what to do but you can't quite do it, like a race, or is it about self-expression, like a storytelling game? And I still believe that these are the 3 types of games, and this is something that I would like to share a bit more. Yeah, my catch-ups with Jess, it is nice to have new games on the shop. Yeah, talk about, hey, here's a new deal as well. Hey, if you get these things, then it'll be cool. And chatting about a whole bunch of games. I think I'm going to start doing more opinion pieces on specific games, and I want to separate them out, and I might even do them within one day, but then do BBBB.903, introducing some reviews, and then I will do a separate video for each review, because that way I still don't have to edit, and it's each episode, rather than rather than having to chat about. Yeah, I think the key thing is Abracadabra. I've still not played it enough to say this is how you feel after 10. Like, I've played it 3 times, I want to say, but I've got enough of an opinion to have. I've played it enough to have an opinion, and hopefully that opinion has some, value. Michael Botterill was really interesting to chat to, and I think I really want to encourage more people who feel like, oh, should I chat? Should I not chat? To be like, yes, come on and chat. Ori has become a new friend. Like, I never really knew them before, but it's been really nice to have them on, talking about what makes a good board game trailer and showing some of their stuff. talking about my own thing, sharing, talking through my own problems is very useful to me. Like, what am I up to? Dragon Meets is tomorrow. The joy of a game system, no prototyping. Like, I'm able to just make stuff, and a quick hello, goodbye from Dragon Meets, and yeah, that was like 3 minutes. And there you can hear Robert. Dragon Meets debrief, lots of photos, and yeah. Should designers play all sorts of games? This was something featuring Joe Baxter Webb, who teaches video game designs. Farah Khan Mohammadi. Let's talk about more about. See, this is kind of self-serving because I want to know this person who I'm maybe going to meet more. Routines are important. Yeah, it's a good thing to remember. Simon has been on the show. It was lovely to chat to them, and yeah, they are. And rather than saying, hey, meeting Simon Lavender, who constantly, it's like Simon Lavender is constantly reviewing and demoing stuff. And what is the minimum viable prototype to show off? Let's ponder that. How is Questable going? I mean, it can, around the 800s, I feel like I settled really into I did a lot more solo shows than like what makes for a good demo. I feel like I have something to say there, and I'm going to actually share that with some other people. Talking about modularity and modular boards, and this is a really important. And what games works well in a Bangkok classroom? Talking about that with Faranak. Examining dexterity auctions. There really aren't that many, and maybe going on is like the best thing that you can really make. Um, Meaningful choices. You don't need to overwhelm the player. It's like just a few is enough. Um, like again, sometimes I just say I'm not feeling great, and that's it. Chris Lowry turns into quite a nice chat and talking about all sorts of things that were going on. I've played a lot of Board Game Arena in the past few months. I think I've played literally hundreds of Board Game Arena games. In January, I might do another quick first impressions, which are my favorites. And yeah, discussing roles, agency, empowerment. This felt like an extension of what we'd chatted about and something that we could explore a bit more. I'm talking with Ori about how you make different things in different scopes and budgets, not just for board game trailers, but for any sort of project. And teaching game design well. How can we do that? I've done it on at some places. Joe's done it in some places. I think this was a really good episode. This is one that I would actually recommend. Basi Onwu Anaku, who makes educational games and runs a cafe for them, and it's fantastic, and they're getting people in. Calyx, yeah, it is really great for board games. Matt Green, just chatting to them and then chatting about the first UK Games Expo redesign contest and all of that. Trying Undertale. Yeah, this wasn't a thing, but I think I am going to play a bit more Undertale. So yeah, I did it twice in a few days apart since I've not continued. But the nice thing is that I'll just watch the recap. So I've got in my own head, oh, that's what I was up to. Pablo Guevara for Hero Time. What does a creator assistant mean? And so he talked about that role, and we just got to know each other. Meeting Drew Schimmel was really nice to get to chat to them and talk about their business. Some really interesting stuff there. Dutch auctions. Yeah, Dutch auctions are an interesting one. I would still really like to see an app-driven thing. Everyone finger on one person's phone. Keyforge just again chatting with one person who's a super fan of that game. I would love to have more people coming on from Board Game Trading and Chat UK, or more people are parts of my thing. Like, if you want to join, please do. And talking about the balance and ideation and like, yeah, top 4 tips for top 10 lists. So this was my tips for people making top 10 lists. I quite enjoyed this. Um, Playing games on Board Game Arena, like, can I just go back to this? Like, something I've got. This is one of the ones where I've got something to say, and this is one of the episodes where I feel like, yes, really had something to say. I wrote to sit down, I made, and I would encourage people who are thinking of making a top 10 list to please listen to this. This was just a, hey, let's play a bunch of games on Board Game Arena for like 3 hours. No, wasn't doing too well. Recap of the year. What did I learn from the year? Making predictions for this year. What conventions will I go to this year? All of these things are things that I find useful for that debrief and planning ahead. But also, I hope that people who are like, hey, I think I might be able to learn from Bez's mistakes or Bez's lessons or from what Bez did well. So this is probably, rather than listen to lessons learned from this game, lessons learned from this game, although that's a series that I might start, I think that I would encourage people to, listen to the whole year recap. And I think this is a nice way to do it. Let's recap, let's analyze, let's look at the next year. And I think that there should have been personal goals for next year, would have been a nice one. If I can't do something easier instead. I think it's a valuable approach. If you disagree, watch it. Matt Holden, because Matt got up ridiculously early in the morning, this is a bit longer than most shows. I think it was a lot of really good chat. And with Matt's Green, Matt helped me redraft the text and everything for the 2023 LDEC contests. They have now been launched, and you have until June, July to get your contests in. Alison Shale is an actual yogi, a practitioner of yoga, and because I made a game yogi, like, I kind of thought that was quite funny. We talked about Alison isn't the biggest gamer, but really enjoys a few games, and I thought it was really interesting to talk about things from that perspective. Natalia Pazar, who demos games and makes people do strength training, pondering auctions, Dutch priority auctions. Like, this is a really weird one, and I think we got into the space of, this is really niche. Should it really even be on Board Game Geek? Kirsten Lunda talking about Questable and the LDEC game design contest. Yeah, even a light game needs a moment of satisfaction, thinking that you can't just be going blah, 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 blah. You have to actually have that moment of, yes, I feel like some sense of achievement. I did something, this is good. Talking about Vampire the Eternal Struggle, a game that Mike Nudd has worked on, that was good. Thinking about its achievements and points and visibility, talking about that from the Board Game Arena perspective, but also Magic the Gathering's done it, and kind of talking about how this is where I decided to play a lot of Board Game Arena games for the Genius Achievement. And I'm actually curious how I'm doing. It's worth doing things badly, yes. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing well, but it's also worth doing badly. Even badly is still good. Let's talk about building a brand and owning those mistakes and get moving on. Getting stuff done even when you're struggling. I mean, these are things where it's really useful to me. And like, let's talk about Bastion. And like, I was planning to be there on the Thursday. I honestly struggled to get there. But yeah, in the end, I packed my bag that night and got out the day after. I got there. It was lovely. It was such a joyous event. And yeah, it feels like it capturing stuff in that moment. The energy is raw. And if you want to know what is Bastion like, you don't ask someone who was there 4 years ago. You ask someone who was there yesterday or even is still there right now. And it was lovely to be able to go through all of this and, ponder it all. when I see that a few people did enjoy my recap. London Toy Fair. Um, yeah, what is it? And yeah, they do keep blurring, pondering mechanics because English auction. So this actually 12 days ago. So this actually inspired a new game, which is a game where you have a blind single auction in order to become the auctioneer for an English auction, and it's so much fun. I'm really proud of this. I'm going to. It probably wants to have a few more cards, but I'm going to see if I can put it into like a busy bargain bag format for UK Games Expo, and I'm looking forward to people actually playing it because I'm so delighted by it. How was London Toy Fair? Yeah, this is honestly like, how was it? Debrief, like it's. I don't know if debrief really counts when I went as a visitor for half a day, but it was really good and I enjoyed it. And yes, remember to celebrate successes again. And hmm, this is where, yeah, I didn't manage to get to Nuremberg, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not well, and bought a bunch of solo RPGs. I might play some of them and report back. Is variable length an issue? So some some people misunderstood what I was talking about here. So I'm not talking about super long games. I asked on Twitter and other areas, how do you feel about this? And really, what I was asking is, how do you feel about games that might never end? Like a game that says it might take 30 minutes, but depending on how the maths works, like it might keep going for hours and hours, or mathematically it could continue for like years. Um, like I'm talking about stuff like Flux or stuff like if chess didn't have the stalemate rule, because that's what the stalemate is when you don't feel like you can make forward progress. And this is like really, for me, really important detail. I opened a box. What was in it? Oh yes, it was Vamp on the Batwalk, which is a nice game. Um, yeah, games should fit into your life, not the other way around. I agree with myself. And yes, Board Game Arena needs a style guide. I was kind of hoping that the Board Game Arena people would see this and think, yeah, you know what, that's a good idea. And yeah, maybe I'll post it over to them. But yeah, that was. Look, Board Game Arena is a great place. I mean, I've played hundreds of games, but I just think that there's a bit of inconsistency between the different things, and I think that I wish there wasn't. Stream Elements reminds me to jiggle and wriggle. Jiggle and wriggle, jiggle and wriggle, jiggle and wriggle, jiggle and wriggle. I've stretched, I've stretched, I've stretched. It's more of a dance than a stretch, but at least I got out of my chair. That's the main point. Anyway, so yeah, and again, some of these are reminders to myself. You are not your output. You are not today. You are good enough. Like it's. I needed to hear this. I still need to hear it, and maybe someone else needs to hear this. So, like, if you need to hear it, just remember you are not just today. You are not. Yeah. I talked about the games that I playtested yesterday. The agency uncertainty conundrum. I'm quite proud of this one. It's kind of, yeah, I think, and that's why I shared it, so it got more views. I mean, I don't share the majority of my streams that much. Like, well, when I say I don't share them, I mean, it posts on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, but I don't then remind people elsewhere. It's if people want it to watch, then it's there for them. But this is one where I went to an actual Facebook group and said, hey, here's some, well, actually two Facebook groups and said, hey, here's something that I've been thinking about. What do you think? Would you agree? And It's about how agency and uncertainty are kind of opposing forces, and how can we make it so that you get both agency and uncertainty. And my conclusion was that learning is the, yeah, best way. But like, I would encourage any designers to watch this. Yeah, not everything matters. This, wow, was this just like 2 days? Was that yesterday? 23 hours ago, I guess it was. Yeah, time. Um, and today I've been recapping. So yeah, then at the start of this, I kind of started recapping, and this is now, um, I guess now it's time to wrap up. So do 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 do. Question of the day, question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. Question of the day. My question of the day is, um, what do you think I should do more of, or what was your? Yeah, I've got two questions. Firstly, if you've watched any of my previous shows, assuming this isn't the first one you watched, which one of my shows was your favorite? And I would be really interested in hearing that. And then the associated question is, which one of the shows, what do you think I should do more of? I mean, out of every show I've ever done, I mean, I still really liked the one where I had Eric Lang and Scott Aldi, and I think was, and there were so many good people as part of that, but a lot of it is unavailable on YouTube, and only the first like 6 hours, 8 hours is available on Facebook, because YouTube, if it goes longer than 10 hours, it messes up. And that's something I was unaware of. I do definitely need to put that up. Out of the ones that are available, yeah, that's annoying. I really need to upload that again. I'm going to say, I'm finding it really hard to decide. For my personal value, I'm going to say, um, talking about English auctions with Alan Paul, because coming up with, hey, here's a mechanism, let's talk about it, let's talk about whether we would make a game about it. I really feel like I get to know those. I think, like, yeah, there's multiple, but like, I'm going to say that's one. Over to you. What are you up to? You can share button if you want to. What's something you're going to do today? What's something you want to do? Let me know. I'm interested to know before we go. I am going to have a friend over. We're going to play a couple of games, possibly Vamp on the Batwalk, possibly can't remember the name, the skirmish combat game. And after that, maybe I'll go to the library, maybe I'll oh yeah. But that's the highlights that I'm looking forward to. Recap and wrap up before we finish up. So basically, I talked about a whole bunch of shows, starting from 700 and went on to 900. And now I am talking about episode 900. So yeah, that's a thing. So yes, thank you very much for everyone watching. And yeah, that's me 5 minutes ago. So I am Stuff by Bez in all of the places, stuffbybez.com/streams. If you want to join me for some future streams, please do. Please share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone. Lots of love. And the only thing left for me to say is, of course, bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Blue, blue, bye, 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 bye. This is. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, bye, everyone. Bye, bye.